on any governmental item of concern to them, whether or not it is scheduled on the agenda below. Citizens must give their names and addresses when recognized to speak. Large groups are urged to select someone to represent them. The public is advised that these meetings are recorded and are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Omar, is there any members of the public in the meeting room here?
No, there isn't, Mayor.
Are there any members of the public online?
See no hands, Mayor.
Okay. So is it okay if I make the comment about the email that went out during public comment session?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm just, because, hey, Councilwoman Dayton, and Bob, we're gonna get right to you. So we're in public comment time right now, and I sent Jimmy an email from a meeting I was part of yesterday with Congressman Gottheimer and some other mayors and some other folks, and it was about congressional spending that is essentially earmarked for districts. Everyone got the email very late this afternoon. Working backwards, the deadline to file is this Friday at 5 o'clock with our ideas. The application itself is not complicated, and projects don't have to be shovel ready. It's for projects that would be happening in fiscal 2024. So whoever has any ideas or thoughts for projects that meet the criteria, send that, communicate that to Jimmy. All right, and we can make multiple requests. And then the congressman is permitted by Congress to submit 15 projects from his district, and then it goes before a House committee, and they make a decision on where the money goes. Yes, Lauren.
I want to make a formal request that Jimmy apply for the Northern Valley Greenway with Andrew McKesh, because I know we were working on that as a multi-town, greenway for federal money.
That's an idea, absolutely. And there's a couple of criteria that it has to meet, and one of them is widespread community benefit. We can't use it to buy new DPW trucks or build a building that benefits the borough's operations and stuff like that. It has to be something that benefits as many human beings as possible.
And this would be great.
Right. And then Jimmy and I will work on getting it filed before 5 o'clock on Friday.
Can I task Jimmy then to reach out to Andrew McKesh, the president of the...
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable, yeah.
And,
all right.
As a liaison.
Is there a dollar range on this? Or did it say shoot for the sky?
No, not, you don't, 700 to $1.5 million, maybe up to $2 million. It all depends on what's going on, hence how many people it serves. Any other questions on that topic? No? Okay. So get your thoughts to Jimmy, please. All right. So we're going to, being no other members of the public here, Omar?
Yes.
We're going to close public comment. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to go right into the first budget discussion of the night, which is the building department. And Bob Burns. Bob, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear
Bob?
you.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. That's what we want to hear. What do you want to tell us, Bob?
I submitted a budget that's just about the same as last year. No new surprises other than what we talked about last year too, about going on the internet for receiving permits.
And that's through Mitchell Humphreys. That's the stuff that is the software that's dictated by the not the software, the process that's dictated by the state.
Yes, it is dictated by the state.
So could you tell us how that works? What's going on?
Well, what the state wants us to be able to do is accept applications via the internet. The general public or the contractor can fill out the necessary forms and submit them. As of right now, they cannot submit the plans, but we still need a hard copy. The state hasn't worked that one out yet. But it'll eliminate some of the time-consuming work of us entering all this stuff into the computer, contractor's information and the homeowner's information or building owner's information. Other than that, it works pretty much the same as our existing software.
When you say plans, you mean the blueprints?
Blueprints, correct.
So where is the money for that software in the budget?
Right now, I put it in capital. There's a question as to whether all of it can be in capital or we have to switch some of it over into O&E.
We're investigating that
Susan,
right
tell-
now.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's an annual maintenance fee for the next 5 years, which I don't know if we can do that. So I'm investigating that, and we're gonna see, like Bob said, how much we can put into capital and how much we can put into operating, where it's gonna go. But it's not so easy for this agreement that I saw. So we have to really look into it.
Okay,
But we'll get it figured out before the end of the
in
month.
time for the,
Yeah.
So how much is the actual software versus the yearly?
So the price that we originally got, and Bob, I don't know if did you send me the next application? Because the price we originally got was $33,000 a year for the next 5 years, and it was, including software and installation. So I have to figure out the terms, and all of that. Then I think you were gonna get it split out.
I haven't gotten it split out yet.
Okay, good. So when
But
you
the
get
total-
that, then
The total will be the same.
So what is the 20,000?
Well,
so,
and that was put in the capital by me prior to getting a figure from Mitchell Humphrey. I guesstimated some extra money to add to what was put in capital last year.
no.
so the 20 may go to 30 for this year.
Well, you know what, now that you just said that, I'm gonna be producing a document to see what's left over from last year. Maybe this 20 is already in last year's budget, and it was approved, so I'm gonna make a note of that, because, I didn't look for that. So, Bob, we may have already allocated 20,000 to your capital. I hope so. So we'll see.
Well, I think we did. We allocated more than that.
All right, so I'll look, and then maybe we won't have to do that again. And then we'll just have to see if we need more, or if the rest of it's gonna be in operating, and if you can go out as far as you want to go, because we may have to go out to bid, we may have to look for a state contract, we may have to see if it has to be a 1-year term, we're not sure yet. To look at a lot of things.
How are we doing on getting the historical stuff online? Stuff that's already been processed over the past couple of years. Is that already electronic? Like getting scanned?
You mean
It's-
his stuff?
A lot of it's
Bob?
been scanned.
Oh, you're looking at me, you know?
Okay.
Is that from the
It's like-
scanning, sorry, Vinu, go
Say
ahead.
that again?
Say that again, Bob, is that from the scanning budget of 21,000 we see?
Yes, it is. That's been scanned that way. We're catching up. Let's put it that way.
What year are we in on that? I mean, this 21,000 for 2023 would be how many
Well-
years in?
We're about 3 years back, so it'll be 2020, I would say, on permits. We haven't done any of the zoning yet. And that's about it that we have. We're getting another year together now to send out.
Is this what other towns are doing? Are they doing a similar process? Is there a superior process or an inferior process? Bob?
Well, there's a problem with this. And this is why we elected to do it. We have to keep all paper for any residence for the entire life of the residence and the commercial buildings. And we have to store it someplace, and it's got to be accessible. The state has allowed us to put it on a cloud and save it that way. Then they can destroy the paperwork.
It's just, I guess, to count.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I can interject, I know to my knowledge, Obionics is the company who is doing the digitizing of the old building permits and different building applications for the life of buildings. So I know that once they store it into the cloud or into their system, they do send a record disposition form to me where I give the approval to destroy the documents. So, but that has been done.
Are we happy with the speed that they're doing it, or?
The speed at in which they're doing it, I can not necessarily speak to because I don't know what years they're on, honestly, as far as like, because he's saying that he's up to 2021.
So, no, so he said 2020 is when we started this, so
Okay.
this is the fourth year, I guess.
Okay.
Say that again, Bob?
We have already online up to 2020.
Oh, okay. So how long have we been doing this at the 21,000 a year?
I'm gonna say 4 or 5 years, or maybe even longer. I don't remember.
We're not destroying like old historical stuff, like from the 1800s, are we?
No.
Okay, that's what I for sure. Feel like the incorporation of our town, the beginning residents.
No, I have those items
Like
in my
for history?
office.
Yeah,
Can we not just save that in storage?
we have no more storage.
Save one storage.
Save all of the historical stuff. I mean, everything that we get,
Mhm.
put it into storage. But for the sake of the having it on site, have what's being scanned this way.
I mean, as opposed to having it scanned?
Yeah, as opposed to destroying.
The question is, are we required by law to have it scanned in?
Well, as long as we have a document available to us, so which is through the cloud.
So are we required to have it scanned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Lauren.
So I will say, having done tons of electronic discovery
Me too. I was
as a
about to make
lawyer,
a comment about it, yeah.
having it all in one place and searchable and scanned is just a huge benefit to the borough. I mean, in terms of OMA responding to any, Oprah requests, this is just enormous.
So just in terms of scale, for purposes like $21,000?
Yes.
If we're paying 20 cents to 25 cents a page for the scanning, we're talking 80 to 100,000 pages a year maximum, which is somewhere between 35 to 38 boxes. So while that's a lot of stuff, if you had to look through it, it's not an enormous, 40 boxes of documents is not a lot of documents,
Right.
just so you have a sense. Go ahead.
And just going back to the Mitchell Humphreys software.
Right.
Some of the benefits of that too is to cut down, because members of the public would be able to search through the database. And then additionally, it complies with recent like Daniels law. So it would redact in certain when it appropriate, it would redact that information. Well, not even that.
Not even.
Certain individuals, judges, cops.
Oh,
So it
There.
knows
that's
when
right,
to
that's right.
redact certain information.
Yes, Jeff?
So I know, and Bob, you can help me with this. I know we're talking 2023, but the budget 5-year projection is 21,000 all the way out to 2027. With current applications, they're still paper, so we're going to be doing this forever, converting, I assume. But at some point, isn't it going to reduce in volume once we catch up? Our yearly volume can't be that huge.
I don't know when the state's going to allow us to accept, non-hard copies of plans. And then so when a homeowner who is allowed to make their own plans, it probably will not be able to do so.
That's not really but that's not really my question. My question is, even if we get paper plans in, let's say, 2024, it's not going to be 35 boxes worth or whatever we've been scanning lately, right? It's going to be hopefully a reduced volume once we catch up.
Yes, it should be. It should be.
So is there some point in this projection where we drop from 21,000 a year down to a much smaller number just for scanning whatever comes in last year?
That's correct.
And because right now we have out to 2027 at 21,000. I think the question is, what year do we see that number fall off that we've caught up?
At this time, I couldn't give you an answer because we still haven't done the zoning. And that's got in, I don't know how many file cabinets that is at this point.
All right.
Yes, sorry, yes,
So
Lauren.
we're gonna come across later in Jimmy's budget, the website, the fillable forms, which obviously would then reduce paperwork all over the place for every department, DPW, building, admin, clerk. And so instead of generating the paper form, having to digitize it, scan it in, give it metadata, the form would literally generate, go right into the system.
And we're
So-
not allowed to, but that's what Bob was saying, is a lot of these
Oh, no, not the plan.
plans,
I understand
right.
that, but
And that's the real big stuff,
of course.
yeah.
Which is
You're
interesting.
right on the other.
Because we had is an applicant going to be at the planning board next week, which of course submitted all the paper copies to be distributed to the planning board members, but they also emailed us the digital version with all the blueprints on them and everything. It's like 80 or 90 pages long, so, and it's almost impossible to read on a computer. You need the printed version to actually function.
The size and the
Yes,
detail.
can't read it.
Although, you know, with the zoning board, we have, we're still, doing the, you know, the Zoom calls. And as part of that, you know, these architects are still showing, all of their plans. I mean, so everybody has the
They're
ability.
looking at it electronically. on
So
the
we're looking
screen,
at,
so,
yeah.
Okay, what are the questions for Bob?
I
Yes,
have-
Lauren.
So, Bob, I think the council has to revisit the language on the vacant property ordinance. But I'd like to know, in your experience, how that's been, it's generated any fees that made a difference, or any movement in filling our commercial spaces, you know, as an update.
It did for one building. The other spaces at this point, they're either under construction or they're legally, I should say legally, they're advertising for rentals. So they're meeting the ordinance as far as setting, you know, the fees to it.
But I thought the language, because I wrote it and we were grappling with it, was that even if you were advertising, you still had to show, it was like beyond advertising. You couldn't just have an advertisement out there and say, oh, I've met the standard. I mean, that was something the council wanted to push harder on. Like, you had to have meetings with the owner, and the owner had to be notified and so forth. So what's happening with that?
That's
we
not
need-
that's not in the ordinance.
It is, because we made a notice,
Well,
agent of
for who to
notice,
for who to have meetings with the owners?
the borough. The property's vacant for 6 months or more.
Right.
They have to give an assigned person who's available 24/7, just in case there's emergency, and that person is supposed to be in touch, or the borough's supposed to be in touch with that person after the 6 months of vacancy.
And that's in the ordinance, you're saying?
I gotta go back and look at the language, because too many people, there's too many loopholes here that were unintended. If someone just advertises it and it's been vacant for 3 years, that's not enough. If the Triangle property, for example, which is filthy and full of trucks and garbage and tires and debris and canisters of who knows what,
That's all been removed.
the trucks are still there,
There's a
I
couple,
saw it
there
this
might
morning.
be, yeah.
If they say we're under construction, but have no plan before the planning board, no commitment for construction in town, is that under construction?
Well, that's a vacant piece of property, vacant land, right?
If it's owned, it has an owner.
Right, but I don't think the ordinance covers vacant land. 'Cause
Yes, it does. It's commercial and residential.
I don't know how we,
It does. We're-
this sounds like a whole separate discussion outside the budget
Correct.
conversation.
But I think maybe then we need a meeting on it, because the purpose of it and the intent of that ordinance, I don't think is being met. The point is to get those things moving.
Okay, so we'll have a separate discussion on the council level,
Okay.
outside the budget meeting for what you're talking about, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Bob, on page 9 of this, there are legal services have like shot up significantly in 2022 to 53,000. Just, do we know why there was so much? And first of all, is that just legal services, or is it including engineering services? Because I don't see any separate item for the zoning board for engineering services.
No, that is strictly, legal, and that's because, a couple of the cases were, referred to court. A couple of the, applications went to court.
And where do the professional services, David Hall's the engineer, where does his fees show up?
It doesn't, it comes out of escrow.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he's paid for it right now.
Yep.
After the part, right?
Right.
Can we talk about the vehicle, is it in or out? I'm sorry, I'm asking Susan.
I'm trying to get the paper out of here. Stuff.
The vehicle, Bob?
I think it was in.
Go ahead.
Yes.
It's in. Recommended to be in.
No, it's out.
Are you sure?
The subtotal was 86, but we have in here 40.
Well, because there's probably two vehicles on that line. So
And that's
his-
a green vehicle again?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
police.
the other green vehicle.
The police came out.
The police vehicle came out, it's a building vehicle's in there.
Yeah.
That's the one we're thinking of getting 100% electric vehicle on.
Mhm.
Okay,
So how many vehicles do we have at the moment?
2, right?
I have to look.
Three?
I mean,
Right.
I see the vehicle list, there's 3
Right
of
now,
them
there's-
typed in.
All right, right now there's 4, because I'm waiting for the, radio guy to get there to take the radios out of the one green car and put them in the other. Then that one green car will be sold.
So one of the 2009s.
Because it's
Right.
one.
And the 2022, we just got that this year, last year?
Yes,
So what's happening with that? Is that is that waiting? It's
No.
not being used and,
it's being used.
but without the stuff that you're talking about from the other vehicle?
Yeah, without the radio, without the two-way radio, yes.
Okay. So we're driving, so the inspectors and the people are driving around with the 4 vehicles.
Actually, yeah. On and off with the one green one.
And the green one is, you're saying that's an electric, a hybrid vehicle?
Correct.
But are we looking for a hybrid or fully electric this going forward?
The thought was all electric.
Right, that's what I thought. And we have to have the infrastructure in place. I assume we're getting, and I know we've spoken to many green places, Councilwoman Dr. O'Connor, found us companies that will install the chargers for free for administration, right?
I don't think that that's gonna be too much of a problem once we get the vehicles, because there's a couple of options. There was even, the idea that you could run a power, line outside of the building with just an outlet was, I know we've talked about that in the past, but I don't think that that's the problem. On this next, vehicle, I don't know why it would be hybrid versus completely
No,
electric.
I think we're agreeing. What I think we should do is we should have on a piece of paper, and I'm gonna make this all up. We need 3 spots that have electric charging stations, one at Borough Hall, one at the DPW building, one at wherever. And then look at all the new, hopefully every new vehicle we're getting is completely green. So we know where we're situated, and one at the police station. I'm making that all up. And then we know what we're buying, such that this building department's fully green car is going to be connected to someplace in Borough Hall to be charged at night, or the like.
We should call it electric, not green.
Yes.
Fully electric, yes, fully electric. With, again, if you buy 3 electric cars and no charging stations, that would probably be a problem. We have to make sure
Well, yeah,
where
we
we're
have-
installing.
We have to install outlets for charging stations, just like people do in their homes.
Exactly.
But I
So
will-
we should have that in the plan, 3 places, 3 cars, et cetera, et cetera.
I will say that, I have an electric vehicle, and we did that on the house charger. Cost $2,000.
You should look at the CT.
Yeah, actually, we did. This was already passed, but, anyway, so I will say, at least for our own vehicles, for the few that we have in our own lot, it's not a huge expense, but there's a huge demand on the electricians that do it, so we should know it probably will take 6 months to get it going. So,
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Any?
Okay.
Just saying.
So-
It's like a small amount.
Make it, because it's way below the bid threshold, so we should have a conversation with our local electrician.
Yeah.
To tell him.
And
we're
let's
done
just
with
map
it.
out where everything is, right? We're gonna want, I think, if I'm reading the budget properly, fire prevention needs another car. Let's make sure that's fully electric and make sure we know where that's sitting at night.
Yeah. We already, just FYI for everyone at the table, from the many iterations of what charging we were gonna have in this, town, we did find out, I just wanna make sure everyone heard Jimmy saying that there is the infrastructure for it in, by the trailer that's like near the police department,
Yeah.
that's already there,
There's electricity there.
so.
So we'll talk to our electrician about getting estimates of the three of them and,
just
okay,
do it.
make sure we're all on the same page.
And just to finish up the circle, it does raise your electrical
course.
pricing, so,
Yeah.
right. But there's no gas.
Yeah.
Well, the gas is what makes the electricity.
So-
Anyway. What's next, Bob? Who's got more questions for Bob?
Oh, I wanted to follow up on the vehicle thing. So at the end of this year, we'll end up having one more being bought for this year, and then we're gonna get rid of the 2009s?
That is correct.
Okay. The Ford Escape, why is that written in
It just came.
instead of with all the information?
We
Was that,
Oh, I did that.
Brand new, yeah.
I
You just got
put
it?
2022 Ford Escape in there.
oh, okay. So we just got it, right?
Question.
Go
I
ahead,
don't know
Bill.
if this will be, hey, Bob, I don't know if, this will be a different discussion, but for the new New Jersey law with the inspectors, having that deadline to respond, you foresee that being a problem?
Actually, it's already, past time as far as inspections go, but the state itself is behind in, completing their regulations for this.
That's funny.
But, so.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, any other questions for Bob?
Thank you so much for all you do.
All right, Bob, thank you very much.
Right, you all have a good night.
Have a good
Bob.
night.
Take care.
Bob?
Bye.
Jim, would you mind, can you invite Bob maybe to accompany to discuss the ordinance? Or maybe we discuss it without, I mean, so it's hard to discuss it without him, but.
Yeah.
I pulled up with her in the parking lot, so she saw.
Well, there's sandwiches inside if anybody wants to
Yeah,
play.
you should
Thank
grab
you.
before your next meeting is hot.
Well, the next meeting is now.
I could eat
I know.
fast.
I took him dinner, and then Jimmy said,
I eat
Did you
dinner.
eat?
I took him dinner, and then
Don't
Jimmy
eat?
said, ordering food.
I will.
You're probably ordering
I will.
food.
Oh, my God.
You okay?
Question about are you feeling all right?
I have a problem with my back. I don't know why.
Yeah, it looks it too. It looks like you got.
Yeah, it hurts.
Pain. Just, with regards to the putting in the charging station, right over here, dear, how are you? Hey, I'm ready for the
Sit next
holiday,
to
my
me.
friend. You're gonna sit right next to Susan. You're fine. It's regards, and we keep going in the circles again and again regarding the recharging stations for our own fleet. Is that required like a new expenditure in the budget, or, let's say it was a $2,000 installation, is that stuff that there's money to be found?
We should put something in the budget, but it's really tight, because you don't really know if it's gonna be definitely that amount. We should find out what it's gonna cost to put them in.
Okay, let me tell us.
Pardon me?
It's not that much money,
Oh, I
but
didn't
I'll make a
order
note. So you think it's like 2,000? How many, 3?
Three.
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
usual ham,
Yeah, I
cheese,
know.
salami.
So, we recycle these books.
Who's here?
I
Oh, hey,
actually-
how you doing?
The new
yeah.
stuff.
Good.
I don't know how old the
Just to
picture
tell
is.
them,
I
tell them,
sent her the
I
idea
said,
of what it
it's once and for all.
That's hysterical.
I have no idea when I did
Use them
ABS,
for the-
KW,
our own police TVs.
What,
How
yeah.
have you been on, but that's, you didn't do that.
this is my book.
How long have you been doing this?
10 years.
And so she was like, she can make a note. We can have,
Yeah, we're gonna call Kenny Rowley.
can you like, guesstimate?
Yeah.
Like if we're saying like 2,000 times 3?
I
You
will,
know,
I talked to him today about a whole nother matter. I'll call him and ask him, okay?
I know he does them in different people's
Yeah.
houses all the time. Anyway, we give her guidelines, if there's not that much money, we'll just put them in once and for all. I've said we'll be. And then we're.
How you doing?
Tied in.
How are ya?
Pretty much the same.
Did I just say yes? This should only take 5 minutes.
So Friday night,
Friday night.
Saturday night, my wife and I were sitting at home watching a movie, 8 o'clock. I got a call from one of the senior citizens. She was at Englewood Hospital. And she had gotten there by ambulance, but had no way of getting home. So she called me.
So I left
Oh,
kids
my
with the
gosh.
I went, of course, I went and picked her up. I took my wife with me. My wife was like, what? I said, of course.
Do I know it? What happened?
No,
Okay, it
we'll
doesn't
talk about
matter.
it later.
That
But, so she's a wonderful person. So of course, her friends weren't around. And, we went over and picked her up and brought her home. And, so the moral of the story is that I need to connect her with you, because she wasn't aware of the senior bus.
Okay.
And we want her,
What time was this at? Did you
well,
pick her up?
it was 8 o'clock Saturday, but that's
At night or in the morning?
Saturday night, right? But she was, because we talked about transportation issues and stuff like that. And, so tomorrow I'll connect you with her, and then you can call her about the senior bus.
Obviously, she's not a member, because they probably would have called me.
Yeah, I don't think she goes there. She's great, she's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's so funny. She's a neighbor?
Well, one of the residents in town,
I missed the beginning.
yeah. And she
Hey,
was stuck at the
Michelle,
hospital.
it's Adam.
Oh, thank, no, we just went, I just had matzo balls. I didn't go home, because I'm like, why am I
All
going
right.
to go home and come back?
Let's get started.
We didn't have anything going on.
We got 3, 4 council members. So what's going on?
So what's going on? Everything. Our membership is up, hi, how are you? Our membership is up to like 438.
Good.
This year, it's excellent, yeah.
How many tenants?
We're, the last time I checked was like, we were over 30%, which is actually, it seems to be increasing. I love when the people still walk in and they're like, I've been in Tenafly for 43 years, I didn't even know this was here. I'm like, how do you not know it's here? You say it every day, every Friday. But it's everything over there, it's running fine. We are getting, cramped, but that's for another meeting. Today we had 39 people this morning in our one class. I didn't even think anybody was gonna be there because of the weather. They just started coming in.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah, they swipe in now, so they're all getting used to our new system, which is really
That's
pretty
great.
cool. Yeah, it's actually, the system is working out really well. I actually messed up on a Zoom call today because they're gonna be able to register online soon. And I was supposed to be in a call this morning, but we've had Trish hasn't been in, so it's been a little crazy, but that's another story. But we're doing great. I mean, we're busy, and we're not asking for much, we don't like to go overboard at the center, so, I mean,
Well, there's the unspoken elephant in the room.
yeah. Which one is that? That's the big one.
The big one.
That's fine, but that, again, that's not the
But,
meeting
yeah.
for here.
No.
We are all well
Yeah.
aware you guys need a facility.
Yeah, I mean, even today, they came out of their class, the second class, we had yoga this morning, and the second class, they came out and they said, we want her to teach more classes, and that's a little, that's kind of a complaint, so I'm actually, that I don't have room on the calendar. So we are doing one class at the McCandless room at 12:45 on Tuesdays.
Oh, very good.
So I figure, I'm gonna try and see. I don't know if they're gonna actually go, but we're gonna try it and see if they feel comfortable going, and then it's just gonna be hard to be in 2 places at one time, but we'll go and check in. The teacher is very responsible, so we'll have them sign in and this and that. So it's, yeah, we're starting a men's exercise class Friday as I've seen you eating your pizza and things. Friday mornings at 9 o'clock. We're starting a men's group. I found,
A subtle dig.
Yeah, right.
I found a 45-minute spot, and we need to increase our male population. Seems like they seem to go first. So,
Poker?
yeah, so we're doing
Poker?
that. So,
Yeah, so we're introducing all new classes. We're starting an improv class. We're gonna start, try and take some ideas. It's just a matter of scheduling and time and room, so we're doing the best we can.
So I'm gonna start with the first question.
Sure.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're doing an improv class?
Yes.
Go for it.
Starting when?
Jeff is there.
Thank you. It's our second one. We did one, a couple of years back, where we had one of the stars of Days of Our Lives who wasn't on the show anymore. He did it.
Well, I'm starting to think about when I retire and can actually come during the day.
We can't wait.
Which things I'm going
We
to.
can't wait.
That's
Changes all the time.
number one on my list.
It's just a 4-week workshop to see if it stands out or not. So it should be
Sorry,
fun.
Lord, did not mean
I'm
to.
sorry, yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I'm sorry, I'm chewing. Give me
All right.
1 second. This is what happens when you come during the dinner time hour. So, I actually want to talk about staffing. You and Trish are incredible. We thank you so much for everything you guys do. Your staff, your board, you're fantastic. Is there a need for anyone else? That's my question. Not that I'm saying we're all gonna say yes, but I want to hear from your angle.
I mean, it's funny you say this,
Even a part-time option, something.
I mean, listen, if you said part-time option, if you said we can use somebody's part-time and that happened, could we use her? Yes, we could. Do we need her right now? No, but in the future, it might be something to think about. We had
Thank you for that honesty, by the way.
Absolutely, I mean, we used the, Easter Seals, that program for a while, and she worked out wonderful, and I actually did call her.
That's from workforce development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
Sounds
stopped
right.
because of COVID,
Mhm.
and then they decreased the hour, and now, I can look into that I would definitely do that. It's just, you just have to watch who you get. But we got really, really lucky. On the woman, we got really lucky. The custodian, that's a different story, but the woman that was there, she was actually really good. Yeah.
But
She actually just called to check in.
you also have a lot of people
We have a
who
lot
want to
of
volunteer.
volunteers. Look at, yes, we have a lot of, my husband says, you can't run that place without Dawn and Nancy. We have a lot of volunteers that are willing and able, that they say, if you need anything, let me know, and we use them. The other day, I used them the other day because I had to take off and Trish wasn't there, so after speaking to Jimmy, they came and they covered for me yesterday.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I have to ask,
It's
because
cheap labor.
you are.
Although we tries to get fired sometimes, like, we're not firing you. That's not gonna get you fired, Don.
Apparently you're a lifer.
No matter what I do, I can't get the job done.
You can,
By the way, Don, in the budget this year, we're quadrupling your salary.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm, there you go, yeah.
No,
Okay,
thank you
that is
for
funny.
doing that.
That's funny.
But, well, there,
So the only thing, the new line item is that our yearly membership of the maintenance every year, $1,200. That's the only thing we really added. And then our, the capital wasn't much. It's chairs, just to complete our set, a couple of new tables, because, they're all falling apart. A couple of new tables, replace our dishwasher that doesn't work, and a new griddle, which we use a lot. So it would be, actually, I'm sorry, he uses a lot. We all have our, our food handling certification, but, so that's really all we're asking for. We don't like to ask for things that we really don't need. So. Security.
Who else has questions for Michelle?
Now, the
Hey,
security
Michelle.
camera and,
So,
sorry.
That's Adam.
oh, hi, Adam, how are ya?
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Good.
So I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but if we could just get an update from someone in administration or the council. I know a couple months ago, we had the meeting where the engineers came in and we brainstormed ideas around the broader municipal complex, the library, the senior center. When are they going to come back to us on thoughts or recommendations?
You're asking us, Adam, or Michelle?
Well,
Oh,
not
I don't-
Michelle,
I
I
don't
said someone in administration or my fellow council people. I just don't want to lose that momentum.
So that,
Where are we?
hold on. So that's a council question about whether the council wants to pursue building these new buildings, right? We have a general sense of what that's gonna cost.
Well, we didn't get that final, so again, I thought that the engineers, we had 2 or 3 meetings, right? We had a couple meetings. the engineers were gonna come back to us to synthesize the insights. Did I miss that? I don't think I saw those insights. Remember,
Should we follow
we
up
had
with-
just a listening session. We weren't supposed to talk. We were just supposed to have a listening session.
Jimmy's gonna speak to the engineers tomorrow.
Okay, let's follow up with that because, again, we know it takes time and I don't want to lose that momentum. Again, if we started today, it's still going to take a couple years to build. And then the second thing is, I think we can more quickly decide if the senior center is part of this complex, which will take a long time, or this is something that could be done in parallel separately, at which point that could make it go faster or slower, et cetera. But I want us to take an action on it versus just keeping it in the budget every year. At least every year I've been as part of the council, this has been on the budget, so 4 years running.
So I know that the question is, that it was started with, I had started too, is about the security cameras.
So I
Yeah.
talked to the chief about that, and then I guess they had problems with their computer and their emails, and it kind of just settled there. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm gonna actually talk to him again. Because before COVID, we talked about it, and again, we never went anywhere, but I would love that.
So Michelle, I think I might have a little insight into this.
Oh, okay.
I believe the chief was doing this as a package.
Yes.
Part of that package was like Davis Johnson Park meeting room.
Okay.
I think there was talk about it outside the teen center,
Mhm.
and there was like so he was gonna be the person like
Okay.
to order them all. I think we did it at Davis Johnson, I think it might have occurred, it didn't occur yet? Okay, so, yeah, you're right, he's the person, but it's a package.
Right,
of
everything will be, I
cards
think
around
everything
town.
will be at the police department.
Right, because
We
they're
talked
gonna
about that a couple
monitor
years- Right.
it in the
Right,
department.
right.
So, yeah, if you circle back
I will
to him,
definitely circle back to him, because that's something I think.
Davis Johnson and the team.
But I think we need, you mentioned the teen center, not just outside, but inside the
We
teen
talked
center.
about that too,
So-
but I don't know, that wasn't on that original
I think it
proposal,
was.
was only the entrance.
No, I think it was.
Who
I'm
has,
not 100% sure that they're putting a camera inside the teen
Nope.
center.
all right, so that's a whole separate,
Yep.
let's talk about, who has questions about the senior center? Yes, Lauren.
So since Michelle's here and Don's here, I'm gonna actually, with everyone's permission, loop in the senior services as well, which Michelle participates in. That's Lisa's department, and under Jimmy's budget, it's page 24. So that, together, the two groups are applying for the senior van, and I wanna talk about that.
The senior van.
Yes, which is in our capital.
So is the senior set, that comes out of which budget?
It comes out of capital.
Right, okay, so what, go ahead.
It's used, John at the senior center is our driver.
Yep,
We have.
it's used quite extensively.
It is one of the greatest benefits that we did here in the, I shouldn't say we, Max did it before my time. But Michelle and Lisa together, we hold monthly meetings, we talk about the usage. The usage is fantastic. I'm talking about the senior van, Jimmy. And so right now, we are getting quotes on a van. The van has to be, a six-person van, not more, because if it's more, it needs a CDL license. We're trying to avoid that. So we don't have issues with driving.
Right.
And that way, John could drive it, Michelle could drive it, anybody.
Yeah.
Michelle, don't sign me up.
Let's take it one step at a time.
Standard driver
Anybody,
license,
yeah.
anybody, but it's so well used. The other thing is that the van has to be, differently able, outfitted for wheelchairs, ramps, things like that. So it is in our capital. We have applied for a grant. We did not get it. I am,
Which one? 135310? From
I don't
Sydney
remember
Transit?
doing
I don't know which,
Yeah,
I don't know,
transit.
transit one, yeah, I don't
we,
know.
we did not get it. We applied. The van, the bus right now is getting, not recalled, but the county has let John and Michelle and Rita know they'd like it back. We're borrowing it technically. And so many communities now have picked up on this trend, which is a wonderful thing for our seniors across Bergen. But we in Tenafly will probably lose our van. And we don't want to be in a position where we've been offering this wonderful service for medical and food shopping and errands and family visits. So I'm imploring my council to keep this in our capital. Right now it's listed at 120.
No, we dropped it.
Dropped
We
it.
dropped it
85.
because I think it was high.
85.
I think it should
85.
actually, and I don't know if we need a new van.
That's what I'm
Is
saying.
that what up?
Right,
I
I
think
mean-
just the vehicle itself is probably 60, 70 and upfitting of.
Well, what are we
But
doing
that's
with the
if you're
bu-
getting new ones.
What are we
right?
doing with the
There-
bus we
there-
have? Are we selling the bus?
No, the bus is the county.
No,
I
no,
don't think so.
we
That's
have our
ours.
big bus.
Oh, our big bus.
That's the bus, a van is the small one, the bus, our bus.
Our big bus is ours.
We use it 5 days a week.
So the idea is
The
to
big
sell it.
Yeah, we drive 5 days a week, 8 hours.
No, but not with the big bus, they're using
We use
the,
it for
the little van
The
now.
van.
How often are we using the bus?
The big bus, not that often. If it's once a week, that's a lot.
And the residents say it's harder to get.
So we should be selling that?
Well,
Yeah.
I
And then buy a
would-
van?
Not yet.
Not
Yeah,
yet,
shared
no.
service?
He's got
Hold on,
the
let me
report.
clarify, the van is the county.
Right.
So that is essentially what we're borrowing that could be taken at any moment. So that's why we are keeping the bus, because at any moment, and utilizing the van more.
But,
Because at any
but the
moment-
bus,
Mhm.
But
uh,
ideally, we want a van.
but the bus, when we, if we, eventually get the van,
Of course.
our own van, we can sell that.
Yeah.
I would actually even say, sell it back to the county, or sell it to the county, because they use, these big vans. So, the little
They're
buses
interested.
throughout and they're very active, they're all over the.
Yeah, we should probably be very serious about getting another van.
Yes.
That's what it sounds
Would
like.
be a great thing. Just getting drivers is just really tough.
Well, you can't compete with the CDL driver,
You
Yeah.
can't.
unless you're gonna pay them,
It's
you
not
know.
just CDL, then you have to go for your passenger endorsement, and then there's one, I don't know what the other one's called. Three
Bus
different
endorsement.
things, yeah, there's three that you have to
Unless you
get.
wanna pay them $50 an hour.
Right.
Well, then I'll do it.
And then, by the way,
Insurance up.
Oh,
so,
sure it does.
so I will implore our council to keep this in our budget. It will
That'd be
take a
great.
while to get this, especially with the
So
outfitting.
is the van in the budget now?
Yeah,
It's
Okay.
being considered, yes.
so
Okay.
we have to vote on them, and so
So
this is the
council
time.
members, how are you feeling about that? Vanu, go ahead.
I would say we keep the van in the budget, but, right now it's at 85. I would say bring it down, get a used van, instead of a brand new van.
So-
Yes, Lauren?
So from what I understand, and Susan, you can check on this, you can't get an older van unless it's correctly outfitted.
No, there's
for the
plenty of
newest-
those.
No, but the technology is changing and it's more safe, and so we want the one that can do the ramps and the wheelchairs and the technology and the mobility, because our drivers are allowed off the bus to help, so everything, the resident has to get on themselves. I mean, they can
Can't
sort
help
of,
them,
Right.
you're
right,
not supposed to help
you're not supposed to help them.
So
So
Jimmy,
I wouldn't mess around with that, I just don't want any liability of someone falling with some old technology or whatever.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, just
Julie.
a question about what Lauren just said. So you're saying that the thing that we're gonna be getting is that a senior themselves has to be mobile to get on it?
So a lot of them come on with their aid.
Yes, we don't help them.
We are not allowed to.
They have to be able to get on and off
That's
the
the way
bus
we
on their
operate
own.
today.
The liability
Or
issue.
with an aid.
It's not door-to-door service, it's curb to curb. And so many of them who are differently
In a
able,
wheelchair, walkers,
Yeah,
they
they-
have to get themselves there.
or they come with their own aid and the aid rides the bus with them to wherever they're going, and then the aid helps them all.
So if
So,
they're not able to get on the bus, they have to have an aid.
right. And that's just the way we've been running it so far.
But it does lower, our buses do, our van lowers this county one, or?
No,
have a
no,
ramp?
the county, your big bus has a lift, but I don't know if the county bus has a lift, the one we have now.
I've had like a ramp,
Does it have a, has a ramp, not a lift?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
know it has a ramp
Yeah, it has
that
a
that
ramp,
comes
yeah.
down.
I would just like to contextualize it that I'm pretty personally involved in this, like, area of life for somebody, and that we need to be very careful with the thing we're purchasing is actually the useful thing that's needed. So,
Yeah.
so even though if a person can get there, but if the step is too steep, and then
Yeah, of
like a
course.
typical bus step, that's not that worth the money for us to do.
No, this one does have a ramp, because we have one woman that does get on with a wheelchair and a walker. It's a ramp, that's exactly what it is.
And then
not
there's a
step.
wheelchair accessible seat.
Mhm.
John, who's the driver, has given the specs to Susan and worked with our senior services and senior committee.
Yeah.
So John is really the person who deals with this every day, so he's very aware of all of that.
I think you have reports, he's written reports and
He has. He helped us, with
He's
the
in
grant
Florida, or else he
application,
would've
he knows
come with
all
me.
the
It was the dispatcher.
The
right?
dispatcher,
Yeah.
really not
Yeah, we
driving,
wanna
he
make
All
only
right,
drives
so it
20.
sounds like we're all in this, we all want a
Everyone's
van.
okay?
Great.
Jimmy, we gotta do some homework in terms of what, the
We've been working on it.
requirements and, new versus used, whatever it is.
Great.
Thank you.
It is a great service, I mean, not many towns have this, where you could just call up working with the county, the county bus is not
Mhm.
easy at all. You
No.
can't go to the store, you can't, it's not easy. So, but it's a really great thing for our seniors.
All right, who has other questions for Michelle? All right, Michelle, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you very much for your
Thank you
support
for your
always.
fabulous work. Don,
so
thank
much
you.
for your support.
Thank you.
Don, when are you making pancakes again?
Oh, hold
We
on.
haven't just
I will,
started
I will.
yet, we do on.
After all those,
Okay.
nothing can happen in the meeting.
October?
I will.
What about next
Well, our
month?
Eagle Scout is, we have an Eagle
Eagle
Scout,
Scout is
he's gonna be
fine.
doing one in the beginning of June.
Good. Good.
Yeah, he's gonna build, because if you haven't seen the center with our new patio, looks great.
Good.
So we got a little bit more space, but he's building, a picnic table and benches.
Actually,
Wonderful.
here's an idea.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
Before you
Yeah.
go, there was
Great.
a request from a Girl Scout troop to do a couple free little libraries. Maybe the senior center's a nice place to put one.
Oh, the little library?
They have their own
We have our own
inside. They
library.
have a
We
picnic
have so many
inside.
books, but yeah,
Okay,
tell them
okay.
they can come weed, tell them to call me, they can weed and do planting.
Yeah,
if
the
they
Girl
want.
Scouts can do planting.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, all right.
They
The
do a
little
nice
kids
job,
like
too.
that.
Yeah.
These were like,
Yeah.
these were like,
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, thank you.
Weeding and
Yeah,
planting,
Question,
yeah.
the pancake,
Oh,
we haven't
yeah,
Roma
no,
start
no,
coming
no,
up.
no.
You have a what?
Roma start in
Oh,
the spring.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know you like that.
I do like
The
it.
Roma stuff, so we
Okay.
do that, and then we do the pancake in the fall.
Good,
We should
good.
make sure our shed, I think, is supposed to be delivered this week, so
Okay, and
start
we'll-
bringing your junk.
And whoever makes that banana.
We'll
The Roma
circle
set is
back
a
on
really
that.
good
Oh, with my mother,
fundraiser.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Do a lot of money there. That's
We're gonna
great.
circle back, obviously.
The pancake is no,
The big
Be
one.
sure
I ate the whole
Thank
loaf.
you very
post it,
much.
so I put it in the message.
Thank you.
the pancake is more of a community.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course,
Okay.
of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
All right, what,
Thank
Jimmy,
you,
are you
have a good
next?
night.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Twice.
Thank you.
Twice.
Jimmy,
Jimmy, are we doing administration next?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless you wanna do HR next, still me.
So just, right, so start off with administration and finish with HR.
Yep.
You must have the
is Deborah
wrong,
coming?
no, you might have the wrong, did you get the latest one?
Thank you very much.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
For,
See, your attitude,
No,
we can
Nature
end
Center's
earlier
not
than
on. Oh, Nature Center's on next
Yeah,
weekend.
they switched it.
All right, administration. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, crap.
We don't
Oh,
have.
never mind.
just the start time.
Never mind. Saturday the 25th. I was thinking this Saturday. I was like, I can't make it this Saturday. Okay.
Which one are you doing? Administration?
Admin.
So, for this year's budget, there's been a decrease in salaries that's been continuing trend over the past couple of years, alongside with, some retirements, turnovers. We eliminated a stipend, the office supply stipend, with the transfer of Christine, from my executive assistant.
No office supply, so who counts the paper clips now?
We all steal.
The new executive assistant, we included that in that job role and responsibilities. So when these things come up, with the help of Susan, we evaluate these and try and see where it makes sense to get rid of some of these, stipends, as through some attrition and, turnover. So, I'm just gonna go in order, of the justification request sheet. The bus routing and mapping, there's a slight increase, I believe it's $250. That's for John Sullivan and it's been kept at the same rate for a number of years. He works well with that provider. They're just a nominal increase this year. Same thing with the fireworks, just minor increase.
Although,
That's out of a trust, not out of the, operating.
no, there is,
There's some in
and I couldn't find the
trust
page.
and operate,
I
it's
couldn't find
in
the
celebration of public events.
In rec, is it in rec, Jeff?
The fireworks is in celebration of public events.
In here,
And it will
under-
be in there, I think it's in unclassified.
Yeah, that's where I was, because we were talking about it, and I just wanted to see that before we went.
All right.
It is,
That's under the unclassified?
I think it's there.
no, it's on page 18, I think.
Where?
Oh, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Can we go?
Oh, 30,
Yeah, it is.
30, sorry, 30.
It is on, unclassified, page 5, it looks like. But one of the things that I learned last year is that rec takes out of that as well for their Independence Day thing.
But they
It's not
shouldn't.
in recreation.
Well,
And so that actually confused me when I was trying to plan last year.
This year, they have a new budget for town events, Jeff.
But it doesn't include Fourth of July because that Doesn't include, they go into this.
$20,000 for like town celebration.
I know, and they go into this and rate it, so I
That should be
need
in
to,
special events.
How's it replenished?
Your welcome committee, would
But
that
this
work?
gets raised through taxation.
that's the only thing that
Yeah, and then that, that increase, in that fee is, I think was just a few $100s, less than $1,000.
Right.
Just for the general costs from year to year. It was like 14 and change, that was 15,000.
Dave did quite a great show last year.
Yeah. They're easy to work with, so they do a good job, and I haven't,
And we're doing a children's-oriented concert before it this year.
okay, great.
Are we doing it anywhere close to Fourth of July this year?
The 8th, July 8th.
It falls on an odd, yeah.
All right.
They wanted it, what, a week and a half or 2
Yeah,
weeks
like the
before,
end of June.
No.
not even the end of June,
Yeah.
like,
Can't do it
Mid-June.
June, I'm not there
No.
yet mentally. It has to say July.
the 8th is
So
good.
we're
It's
July
4
8th,
days
so we're
after.
good.
All
Yeah,
right.
with the rain date the following day.
Yeah.
I'm not
just-
here, but yeah.
We're okay to continue down this list?
Can we go, oh, you're going down.
I'm just going down that list, no particular order. The community, that increase in community markets is actually not in this budget. After review, it's in the recreation budget, so it's not for tonight. I touched on the stipend, that's, eliminated through adding it in the, hired job duties.
Good job.
That.
Thank
Website, so the increase there for the website expenses is for the adding the module for electronic billable forms. It is, we increased it by $9,000, which is essentially what they quoted us, 8,000 and change, to add that module for electronic billable forms on the website.
How many, borough-wide, not like a.
Yeah, no, it would be borough-wide, I don't think there was, yeah, ongoing.
Not, that's separate, that's everything except the building department.
So what the building department is, yeah, this probably, while it could be used in the building department, that software is much more advanced than this.
Than that.
So it probably wouldn't be worth utilizing some of this for the
Right.
building department, just because they'll have a much more advanced, much more, robust system to handle the plans and so on and so forth. But this could be used in any other thing. You wanted to fill out the banner, form, message board form,
Racks, potholes, DPW, tree
clerk,
permit,
literally all
clerk,
those
Oprah,
items.
elections, everything.
It's the next step.
So that's included in there for consideration. Network expenses, it's just following the 2% increase, 2% escalating increase with the contract with the Board of Ed.
Can we please put that on the closed session?
What? The Board of Ed contract?
Correct.
Sure, we can do that at a future meeting, of course.
Labor council is decreased last year, we didn't even use, come close to all the use last year, so we decreased it, and I don't even expect, hopefully not using, barring any major type of event, not having to use, what's even allocated there for this year, what's requested. And environmental commission asked, for, increase for events, Earth Day events, maintenance of the community gardens, and the membership with the, ANJAC.
What is the, I have a question about, I know I'm sort of liaison to it, what was the total?
Well, we can go, I want to.
But they wanted 5K?
5,000, whatever you'd like.
Yeah. I want-
The only.
Well, yeah, that's what-
Before we get to the numbers, when Julie's done, I want, just before
Oh.
numbers.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up with Environmental Commission, just, for full transparency, the Northern Valley Earth Day event, it hasn't occurred in the last few years, and it's not happening this year as well since COVID. That's the one that, you might have remembered it in years past, so like, it was either here one time, and then it was like
Northern Valley
Demarest,
Demarest.
in Northern Valley Demarest another time, closer another time. Hopefully for 2023, it'll be off the ground, but it was impacted by COVID. I will say that the community garden review increased, and then the ANJAC membership and a few other things are always good, but we'll keep an eye on that, because if it's not occurring, then maybe that can impact, the ask.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Before we get to numbers, the only thing I just want to say, since we don't have an HR person and there's no narrative like you have, on the very first page where you have the 2023 budget and your item 5 is coordinate with HR and CFO to negotiate labor contracts.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure there's a note in there of some sort, so we don't lose it, for HR to come up with job descriptions.
Sure.
Very
Something we
Right.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
Yep.
and that should be in HR, but we don't have this page.
Yeah.
So if you add that, I am very appreciative.
Of course.
Now, people can
Let's
go
go
to
to
numbers.
Next question.
salary and wages page 5. Susan, there's no, Jimmy and then recommended, this is it,
That's it.
okay. And that's just all purely contractual.
And we could turn to
Well, it follows, well, I don't have the
Contract?
contract, but, I mean, that's,
Yeah,
it
you're
follows
outside of it.
2%,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
One of these ones.
Yeah. And you're good, Jimmy?
I
Good
mean,
on this stuff?
to be honest, I do, not for this purpose. I would like to introduce a contract, but that would be in a closed session meeting.
For you.
But but it wasn't, I wasn't considering, an increase, to request an increase for this year.
I think you're an at-will employee, I don't think.
You could still have an employment, there could still be a contract.
Yes.
with it. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, no, understood, yeah.
Yes, okay, all right, so any other questions on salary and wages, are you staffed appropriately and everything's filled in your office?
Yeah, thankfully, with the transfer of the prior assistant, remaining within the building, but on the other side in PD, she's been very helpful, in getting the new assistant kind of up to speed. We spend a lot of time, a lot of, files kept, from prior years to be able to function smoothly with a lot of events coordinations, everything. So it's thankfully been okay. No major, nothing crazy, and we make sure to not to overwhelm them. I make myself available. I try and add every way possible, every day possible, and so everything's been good. Thank you for the help of some of the staff. So yeah.
I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I think the office is running really nicely, so,
Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything's good.
Thank you.
They have answers for me when I show up with weird questions and,
Appreciate
you
that.
know.
Okay, so who has questions for
Okay,
Jimmy?
I do, so I have questions.
Vinu, go ahead.
On page 7, about the other professional fees, are we happy with how the Millennium Strategies thing is going? I mean, do we,
Too early to tell, no?
because, I mean, it's in here for a year is what, and I don't know if we,
Do we have to contract with?
If I may add just a couple of things to that. So to Vanu's point, yes, the $7,800 is $650 per month, and that's a month by month contract. So we could terminate that
Okay.
anytime with 30 days notice. But yes, also to Lauren's point, I think it is maybe a little too soon. We haven't heard back from any of the grants that they applied to on our behalf. But I will say, one thing to consider is the dollar amount you want to consider for the actual grant writing portion, less the portal subscription, which is $7,800, because one grant alone could be $3,000. And we're kind of hitting that, if not exceeded that already, not even a quarter way through the year. Well, I know these are all worthwhile endeavors to go through and to pursue some of these grants. We just have to consider.
So the proof is gonna be in as soon as, to see if we start winning grants.
Yeah, every meeting, we're getting a shotgun of 5, 7 grants. Should be fine, and some of them are really good.
Yeah, or
All
we
right.
could do more, sorry, just,
Yeah,
there
go
are
ahead.
some we could do internal. I would love to be able to do so. So, I mean, that's something to consider, but of course, like, one that's gonna come up at this meeting is, I think that recreation that applies to is like for football helmets. So
Right.
that's something I think like internally, some of those kind of items, but like, of course, like the ambulance, no, we should pay a premium for.
Right.
So.
Lauren, please.
So I actually really love the grants that we get each meeting, but as you and I have just discussed this week, we had one for senior services that, just the timing of it, we need to figure out a better system, and this is for a different conversation. We're not gonna be able to apply for much, because we couldn't flesh it out in time. By the time it came to the meeting, and the committee met, we were already behind the ball big time to make decisions.
So it's a good point, so
And,
it's
yeah.
more, because you've raised a very valid point, so let's use that particular grant as an option. Seniors, for everyone's understanding, Senior Services Group came up with an idea for a grant. They wanted it to be used with a particular grant application, which had its own criteria, and the want didn't meet the criteria, plus it was also happening very quickly, okay? And so I think kind of the lesson that at least, I learned from this process is, so when Senior Services, if they come up with an idea that's fully flushed out, then we should start looking for the grant that works, or kind of watching for that grant, or having something on the shelf, so when an appropriate grant comes up, we can apply for it. Because when a grant pops up out of nowhere, and then it's like 4 days, but needs a lot of detail, which is, that particular grant needs more detail than what's due on Friday, right? So the timing didn't work. Jeff, go ahead.
So sometimes it may work,
Yeah.
right
This
now,
one did.
we're gonna have a phone meeting with, Millennium tomorrow, because we know we need a fire suppression at the train station, and we've been looking for and something is there that we might be able to come up with, and fire suppression is super expensive. So that's to the point of, you know what you want ahead of time,
Yeah.
and when you see something, it's like, jump on it.
Yep.
Well, just for example, in this one, we initially hoped the van fit in. It didn't. We were actually gonna try to get $10,000 or $15,000 towards the van, ineligible. And the committee said, okay, if the van's not in, Plan B, we want walkability, accessibility. So we talked about, okay, what do we have engineering on? BFJ did engineering on sidewalks, on intersections,
Benches,
on
right.
crosswalks, on benches. So we talked about throwing this all in, and essentially the feedback from Millennium is, look, it's not eligible the way you're presenting it. And so it would have had to take different planning to make it grant ready, and it's just the costs and the time didn't work. So sometimes, of course, it's nice to have some ideas flushed out here where we can then backtrack, but on that one, I think they did engineering.
And that particular grant was also looking for,
It's small.
like, it wasn't like a grant to get benches, right, or a concrete sidewalk. They were looking for a program, something that is an ongoing sort of thing that people do together as human beings, right?
Connectivity,
Right.
walkability, accessibility, that kind of.
And on the same vein, Millennium has been very good with not just applying, but consulting with us.
Good.
Right.
They've offered a good amount of their time and energy to
Mhm.
kind of say, hey, tell us more about your project, and we'll tell you if it meets the criteria. So they've been very helpful in that regard.
And I will say, they didn't want to waste our money,
Mhm.
because they were very honest with Jimmy, and I kept saying, well, what about this? And they kept saying, you know what, not a good idea, and Jimmy would have to tell me, Lauren, that's not a good idea. And it's not gonna work, because you're not gonna win the grant, so don't waste the money applying for these things that, that just won't float. So I thought that was at least honest. Of course, I have to go back to my Senior Services Committee and say, oh, no.
And I don't know what'll happen with this grant,
Yeah.
whether we'll be able to get it, it's just.
Yeah. But, we had applied for the van, we knew we needed a van, we tasked last year with the van grant, and we applied, Jimmy applied for us,
Mhm.
and it's still.
And I think to your point, because it is a good point, that we need to be thinking of what projects we really want to do. Our initial discussion about Millennium was that we would see things and go, "Ooh, shiny, I want that."
Yeah,
And
shiny.
it wasn't in our thoughts, but, there's a grant out there, but it's a matching grant, so now we gotta come up with the whole money up front. So I think to have things like what
Yeah.
you're talking about, like what I was talking about, to have it in your mind that these are what we're looking for. Let's not just scan them and say, can we make a project out of this?
Right.
That would be
Also,
our benefit.
It's also good for, we were planning for that anyway.
Right.
A funding source right there.
Exactly.
Jimmy, find me an inclusivity playground.
Okay. Other questions for Jimmy?
Will we lose it? Yes, I do. I want to talk about the network expenses, but not in the legal sense, in the cost sense. Why are they went up based on the contract that we just signed,
Mhm.
and they're gonna go up for the next 5 years?
Was it 2% a year?
2% escalating. Mhm.
And Are we getting more protections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they've implemented that, the multi-factor authentication, the first phase of that, so the second phase will be coming, all the redundancies and backups, so yeah, they were also pushing me hard, because now their coverage is being dangled over their head.
It's important.
Apply 100%, so we're
So
probably
you're on your own.
probably never been safer.
Yeah.
Are we transitioning to the?
Maybe I should mention that.
Yeah, mention.
That, they want us to, that's on the table, they like us to.
To what?
So, transition to Gmail, away from Outlook.
Interesting.
No,
The
because
one
the
thing is-
school, is obviously fully, I think they have a server just for us, for that specific, for Outlook.
As soon as possible.
So if that's something that the council would like to do, I mean, it's just more internal kind of, learning curves.
Email looks like it's from the 90s.
On Outlook.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have enough storage. It keeps deleting all
That
my old
too.
stuff, because I now 6 years worth of stuff. That, like, sometimes I keep.
All you need to do is ask for increased storage space.
I did,
Yeah.
like Xavier,
They kick back
yeah.
a gig they give us,
Oh.
1 gig.
So it's hard to save things.
Original iPods is more than that.
Now Edmonds is not on their server
I
anymore.
know, thank
So
you
then
for that.
we're paying like $5,500 a year to Edmonds for that.
But no, but it
Instead
can
of-
just get hacked,
It's all in
so.
the cloud, right?
It's all in the cloud, but I was wondering, can we reduce this like $5,500 because we're paying someone else for it?
I know, I mean, again, that contract should have been negotiated, but that's for close.
It's a whole another discussion, another
So,
contract.
speaking of negotiation, so the Labor Council and Legal Services, we both dropped down in this budget. Want to be really careful about that. I always think we should up them. Any one issue, we'll send that budget over.
Well, that's if the council wants to add more money to it, that's your prerogative.
You have no HR right
We'll
now?
let Jimmy respond to that.
Sorry, just to interject too, and maybe speak this
It's on
too,
page
there
10.
are a couple other accounts that are kind of just in case.
Litigation, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
which page are you on?
Page
Page
10.
Page 10.
The legal.
I just know we don't have HR right now, so not that Jimmy's picking up HR, but HR council might be called more at the moment until we get a thing to.
We've increased legal expenses a lot, and like I see that the borough attorney's doing a great deal of work for the borough, but I personally don't think we need to spend more than $50,000 on labor council. We have one agreement, it's a big one this year to negotiate, and then we're all wrapping up,
Yeah, and the rest we've been doing
the foreman.
internally, so
Yeah, so-
that's been more brought in-house,
Jimmy and
pretty
I are
much
working
virtually
together.
100%.
Okay.
With the exception of putting the final bow on it with the last glance. So yeah, we're, to Susan's point, we have pretty much just the one major one this year.
As it probably
Jimmy
should
is a
have been all
major
along.
one.
We could do it in-house, and then the final okay should go to the labor council for review of the legalese of the terms of the contract. And then if there's something that
Small
the
things,
laws
yeah.
changed and things like that, I mean, we've done it successfully in the past.
Okay, next question for Jimmy.
Next is all the different committees, HPC, and Jeff, anything on HPC, or?
Well, there's engineering,
Yeah, there's engineering, do you want to go back to?
page 11.
Isn't that contractual right now?
I guess, there is, but they also do have added costs, right?
Each time
For
we
each
talk to
time we
them.
talk to them, yeah. So.
We learned the hard way when I kept calling.
Any other questions for Jimmy on this?
Yes, I have questions as we go. All right, Environmental Commission. Oh, I'm supposed to present because Roxana's not here tonight.
Oh, hold on, before that, if it's okay.
No, go for it.
Storm,
Page by page.
yeah, page 11, stormwater expenses. Is it possible to kind of do some kind of a sharing agreement with another town on stormwater related things, and also have some kind of a tax on within our town? I mean, two separate ideas. One is
There's a
sharing.
stormwater tax trust,
Right, which is what I'm thinking.
never
So I guess the
implemented
first
it.
question,
Mhm.
just to get you at the heart of,
Right.
is how are we defining stormwater expenses? When we write that check, where does it go?
Andy is responsible for
That's like
that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where it goes, but I know that you have to do it. And that's why
State
it's in this
required.
budget,
Yeah.
yeah.
So each state.
So, and if you look at what we've been spending, you definitely need the $36,000 in there.
35,000.
35.
Is it, am I in the right line?
35,000.
Where am I?
Page
Page
11.
11 at the bottom.
Second to
Oh,
last.
you know what, I was looking up here, you had 35,000. I thought I needed reading list.
Hey, let's find out if that could be like culvert repairs and things of that nature buried in there, right? Outflow cleaning that go on every year.
I just wanted to retract something, I was looking at the wrong line here.
Okay.
So, I know that I ask Andy every year, do we need this amount? And he said, make sure you put in the 35. We did use 35 last year, and I'm not, the year before we didn't, but I think it's a number that,
It's some application with the state, I apologize, I don't know all the technical, definitions of it in the
we can
process.
find out.
But there
Let's
is an
find out.
application process.
Okay.
Is it the GIS or whatever, part of that whole
To a degree,
process?
yeah, to a degree, yeah.
Let's
Yeah, but-
find out exactly.
But if it's with the state, it wouldn't fluctuate that much, that's the
Well,
only thing.
something we have to do,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
my
that's why it hasn't
understanding.
been done in the past, and those requirements have been, they've been
Well, there,
more.
but sometimes the state comes in and does mandate, they'll say,
Yeah.
okay, this year you have to clean all your storm, your out,
Right.
where they didn't
Right.
do it last year. But let's get clarification on this so we know exactly what it's for.
But then coming back to the other question about, creating a trust fund of some kind, that's resident funded and, with, or whatever, 1%,
For the storm, in other words,
For the storm
fund that
water,
through a
yeah.
trust
yeah.
from taxes?
Mm-hmm.
They have that, they created it 3 years ago. The state allows you to make a
Right.
stormwater
Right.
tax.
Because,
Some communities did it, I always ask Andy about this. He says they're not generating enough money out of the taxes to make a huge dent in the requirements of keeping the saltwater. So, would it cover 3,600? Yes.
35,000.
It depends on what you do.
35,000, we're not looking at
Right, so let's find out exactly where this money is going to, then we can get into the question of whether we have a shared service, which is a perfectly good question.
I think there might be.
All right,
There's a
Jimmy,
whole-
let's identify that for the next meeting.
So, the stormwater tax information, by the way, is on the League of Municipalities page. They do some
Right.
research and stuff, there's a couple articles on it, they did a study on it. Andy and I have discussed this numerous times, but, I think very few communities have put it in yet because it was new and it was just allowed, but maybe by now someone has, so let's see what's happening.
Let's clarify, Dan,
To build off Venus' question, remember we.
The what?
To build off Venus' question, remember we gave the three names, the three locations, where did that end up?
Oh, yeah,
oh, that's still all in the mix there.
ongoing,
That, we haven't gotten a no yet,
yeah.
okay.
We're asking those
locations
from Godheim.
yes.
So, if anyone doesn't have anything before page 20, I'm supposed to talk about the welcoming committee.
Go to 20.
Roxanne's not here. So I just want to say thank you to the council for the welcoming committee. I spoke to Roxanne tonight. The welcoming committee has expanded itself. They now hold 2 and with a third possible event each year. They do a big thing in September, as everyone knows, for new residents. They do something in May at the firehouse with ice cream and food for new residents, because we're getting a big influx during that period. And then they're usually trying to do at least one more. They've done an ice rink event, and this year they're gonna be a community night. So this group of people come out and they really find all the resources in town and give them to our new residents. They also Roxana fields phone calls and emails from any new resident who has a question and directs them to the right place or answers them. Just to give you a sense, I know we spoke with Jeff in the tax assessor's office. We had 345 new residents last year. That is huge. Our town numbers have actually increased. And so again, those are, I don't even think children are counted in there. So just, a lot of people are coming to Tenafly. They want to be here. They have kept their budget flat. They say thank you for that and hope it's approved.
Your school system came in number 3 in Bergen County.
I saw that. And we have a new
Wait,
superintendent.
who we lose to?
Bergen Academies and Bergen Technical. Right. And then it's us.
Now, as long as we and BD,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Go ahead,
Is there some point,
And BD.
is there some point where they're going to stop printing and get with electronics and the modern age so that we don't have to, because printing costs are only going up?
So the printing and postage is going up. The issue is that we don't collect emails. And so we don't ask for personal phone numbers or emails on purpose, because a lot of times some of these are rentals and they'll flip, so they actually do a postcard mailer, and they find that more effective for the residents.
Oh,
Plus, sometimes they know they're rented, but it doesn't have a particular name on it, so it'll go to the new resident of, 1 Elm Street, and that's how they do it.
you with both your conversations,
Yeah.
you and Omar are gonna be working on a,
QR
code
code.
for the rose garden, where it takes
Oh.
a picture of the QR code and tells you what roses you're standing at. So the
that.
postcard thing,
Nice.
the postcard thing, QR coded.
And then you
Actually-
All
can,
this stuff.
Jeff, to your point, I love your idea. I mean, again, we shouldn't be printing stuff. Susan and I were talking. Unfortunately, I'm, never allowed to come back to New Jersey ever again. I'm stuck for work here on the West Coast. And Susan's been able to send me the electronic version of the budget deck since I've, Saturday and Tuesday. It's great. I actually make notes on my iPad, which I know we all get as council people. I'd love to say that literally the thousands of pages of budget documents, I'd love for us all to commit to not needing to have an employee of the borough photocopy thousands of pages for our budget decks. We should do it all electronically like I'm doing it. That would literally save not only people time, but also save the planet paper-wise. I don't know if you guys are up for it. I am.
I like that, I'm up for it.
Wait, you get an electronic device from the borough?
Does it work, Adam?
That's Jeff's takeaway.
Exactly.
No, I think you're right. I'd be fine with it. I think you're absolutely right. The more we can get away from paper,
Ooh, extra budget.
the better.
Yeah.
I won't be there.
Okay, next question for Jimmy.
So
Are
thank
we
you.
on page 21 yet, or did we?
Go for it, page
We're on
21.
We're up to 21.
Same
I
thing,
just
same
had
printing too.
a question for about the membership dues for,
That's for Adam. Adam, this is downtown.
well,
Yes?
No, that's for the Northern New Jersey Chamber
because
of
it
Commerce.
says
Oh, yeah,
Northern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, but that was actually gonna be my question. I know we've had the Chamber of Commerce, it looks like we hadn't paid it there. I
What?
wasn't sure what the situation was.
So-
What, we should.
Yeah, I'm happy
I
to
actually know.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I
No,
even
go,
know the
Jeff.
answer,
Jeff,
'cause
Jeff, please. Please feel
so
free.
you tell me if I'm wrong, because my wife's with the Northern Jersey Chamber of
That's
Commerce.
exactly it.
It's a larger organization for all the chambers in Northern New Jersey, but to be a part of that and get what some of their benefits, you have to join.
We hadn't
Why do we
previous.
do-
We've never been, or at least in whatever years, we've never been a part of the Northern Jersey Chamber of
Why
Commerce.
is the borough joining as opposed to the Chamber of
Right.
Commerce of Tenafly?
Totally agree.
That's
Totally
a good,
agree.
that's the question.
I agree with that.
There's a new chamber, they should be raising their
I
own
put it
funds
in,
to
you
join.
guys have to
So-
discuss it.
I would take it
Adam,
out.
did you hear the question?
Yeah, so the way it works is it's actually 2 steps. And again, Jeff, I bet because of Shelley, you know it better than I do. It's 2 steps. One is the chamber, the Northern New Jersey Chamber, the borough pays some, and then traditionally, actually the businesses pay as well. What they're doing for us this year, since it's our first year and we know that we're standing up our own, a new chamber, they're actually waiving all of the fees for the businesses, which I think is really nice of them. So that's how it's done.
So they're waiving the fees for the businesses, but then putting it on the residents. Adam, the chamber should pay for it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's okay. I mean, it's $5,000. Again, it helps. I would argue it helps the whole town. It helps the residents. They advertise for us. They help organize events for us. They help organize openings for us. So I think it's a community-wide benefit.
I don't think we should start the trend. Look, I agree on all the benefits, and I love that we're joining it. I love that there's a new direction. I love that we're joining the bigger, Northern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, but I don't think it's on us to do. They're an independent organization. They've always been independent.
It's also a nonprofit.
It's a
Well, I guess,
nonprofit.
Borough.
the question is also,
Chamber of
Does the
Commerce.
town, does the
represents-
town benefit from it? So the question
Right.
is, again, I think they help promote Tenafly.
The town benefits from everything a business sells, so we'll pay half for their inventory.
No, but I think Dan had a point about what Chamber of Commerce's are versus what a borough is. I think it's just more the brass tacks of it.
We're paying to lobby ourselves.
That's right.
We
So-
are a lobby firm.
Adam, are there other towns that join it, that are members of the Northern Chamber, that, whatever it's called, the Northern New Jersey Chamber?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I best understand it, Englewood does it, Edgewater does it. I mean, literally a dozen different towns do it.
So the way, so Englewood doesn't have its own chamber. It fused its chamber into this Northern New Jersey chamber. So they basically it's almost like a takeover of the chambers of commerce in all these different towns under this one umbrella. Tenafly decided not to do this or to join the Northern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce. There have been discussions with Christine for many years, and they just Tenafly decided not to do this.
Yeah,
Which
and that's
I
why,
think
that's
part of
correct.
also.
Yeah, so in the past, it hasn't been done. We believe that there's a new direction, and the recommendation is that we try to do this as well. I'm happy to investigate. I'm told everyone does. If it makes it, people feel like it helps answer the question, if I could confirm that, again, a half dozen other towns are paying their $5,000, I don't know if that would help, or Adam, it doesn't matter that all the other towns are doing it, we don't want to do it, then I could save the time. I totally leave it up to you guys. I believe this is a good investment to make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, not that I have a vote, but I'm in favor of this only because anything that helps expand the understanding and knowledge and advertise our downtown and helps our merchants, I'm in favor of.
So, if this was the downtown committee, just the downtown committee, 100% would support our own government committee doing work to support our own downtown. This is a private organization that we have no say in, don't know what its direction will be.
Sorry, please. We do have a say in it. Actually, they invited us to join the board. We absolutely have a say in it.
That's a first. I mean, we've always had a liaison too, to listen, but we've never had a say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a good trend.
No.
Yeah, government should not have.
Government should not have a say in a private organization.
Agreed.
I just feel like it's not a precedent.
Well, governments have absolute say as a private organization. It's called taxes and zoning and regulations and laws.
I run them.
Yeah, but not in this way.
All right.
So I'm with Councilwoman Dayton. I don't think we should be getting involved in funding the chamber, another chamber, and not our own.
How do you feel about it, Dan?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's move on from this one.
Am I taking it out?
Take it out.
Okay, so who else? So no one, so I'm the only one in favor of supporting this?
Me and you and I.
Okay.
That's not that I don't like the idea, of joining the chamber, of joining the bigger chamber. That's fantastic.
You
But
can't join, the chamber requires admission. You can't join it for free. They give you lots of benefits. Obviously, everyone would love to join, Six Flags Great Adventure as long as they don't have to pay for it. So
We wouldn't be joining, it would be the chamber that's joining.
So can our downtown committee join it? We'll fund them?
No, wait, okay, so Vanu just asked an interesting question. So I'm formulating into a question. Is it the borough that's joining with this, or is it the Chamber of Commerce of Tenafly joining?
Chamber.
I think, we're one team. Whatever the town is, whatever the council is most comfortable with. If they like the chamber to join it with these funds, you'd like the chamber to sit on again, we were offered a board seat. If you think it's best that the chamber representative sits on that, great, we could do it that way without a doubt. I just want the benefits. I just want Tenafly to benefit, however the best way to do it.
Adam, I'm not sure if you could hear Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Then you should put on a chamber hat, not a borough hat.
My question is, can the downtown committee join?
No, they're still us.
Can the downtown?
That was part of
Well,
the borough.
that would be the borough of Tenafly joining.
Then it would be appropriate to pay the $5,000.
But
If
they're
not,
A chamber.
if not, right, if not, then I'm a no.
Jeff, what's your view? We haven't.
I'm looking to see where they even talk about chambers joining and chambers as members in their application process. They're really business oriented, and that's why I know it from my wife. I mean, she's a business, it's for business connections, for business events. They don't come out and do stuff in Tenafly because she's a member. And I'm looking for the cost. I mean, for a small business, it costs $100 and something a year to join the North Jersey Chamber of Commerce. That's not bad.
So,
I do tend to agree with what Dan and Lauren were saying. I'm on that same page.
so what it is, you know, individual businesses in Englewood join this Northern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce. There is no longer an Englewood Chamber of Commerce. And this is true throughout Northern New Jersey, throughout Bergen County, you know, in these different towns. They don't have a kind of a municipal Chamber of Commerce. There's only this Northern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, which the businesses then join. So it's not even Tenafly that's joining them. It's the individual businesses that would be joining them.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question.
Page 18, we're all okay with the 50,000 to Nature Center and.
It's coming another day.
Yeah, okay. We'll hold off.
Next
But
question.
that's open space. I get that, but.
It's a zero though, in
Yeah,
the
it's an open space.
Right.
I know, but I was just wanting to talk about that.
Any more questions for Jimmy? No?
I would just like to address the two quick things in capital, unless there's any more.
Yeah, no,
What?
I'm just flipping.
Yeah, no, of course, take
Who
your
missed
time.
that? No, I have it on my watch.
That clock is way off.
That's not good.
We need a person to clean the garbage up and fix it.
Okay.
Like yesterday.
Capital, we already did one of them.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, so,
We already did one, but
yep, so of course, we spoke about the senior bus, and we pretty much we've been talking about the computers, and the IT department, compiled the computer inventory list. So, the amount requested, would pretty much, we would replace as many as we can, desktops and, monitors to the computers, which are necessary, because sometimes we replace monitors, but not the desktops, to try and, expand their lifespan as much as we could, so.
why aren't we doing laptops?
I'm sorry?
Why aren't we doing laptops?
Some employees have them, it's not necessarily needed, the desktops are more, yeah, they're just better for work. Yeah, yeah.
I can't organize that stuff at this point, like, that's just me.
So that's it, happy to answer any other questions.
Any other
related to
questions for
capital
Jimmy?
operating.
Oh, Sue, why'd you put ambulance question mark on this here?
No, I didn't write that.
Wanna go to HR?
think
I know, I
that's-
write some, Jimmy wrote some.
That was
They
me.
applied for a
At the
grant.
time, yeah, we applied for a grant, and we weren't sure which, budget it was gonna go in, so, but it's in the capital.
Go to
The,
HR?
it's FEMA. Yeah, the FEMA.
All right, we ready to move on to HR, Jimmy?
Yep. Ready to move on. So yeah, so a big,
Vacancy.
yeah, so, obviously a big function of this position will be to focus on job descriptions. And, in here on the salary and wages, this is, you know, pretty much Susan and I sat down and, came up with the best estimation to be prorated based on, anticipation to fill, the vacancy.
What,
The
what,
$100,000 salary prorated over the, whenever we fill it.
and did we decide that's the best salary for that? I mean, because,
Lower.
I mean, right, that's my point. Can we lower it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the budget amount, it doesn't mean you can't go lower, it's
We-
based on the qualification.
Have we put a salary in the job
No.
description, in the ad, okay?
No. Then, everything else in this budget is either flat or reduced, there's nothing, there's not much really just advertising, just employee, celebrations, just the general luncheons and things like that. not a whole lot in this budget.
I want to actually add, I didn't actually discuss it in your budget, Jimmy, but in both the HR and Jimmy and the BA's budget, I think we should increase training. I think you should have more opportunity to go and do more
Training
training.
is good.
So what's good is the gym offers a lot of free, on-demand training, which is great, because they expand, they're a good resource. So we push that to the department and the employees to take advantage of that. Outside of that, it's more of a departmental function, but of course it's on us to kind of put a good culture in place to make sure we're promoting that. So, 'cause, who am I to say this DPW employee should take a forklift training when they should take whatever, different type of training.
I know one of the things I'd asked, Alicia before she left was the LGBTQ and inclusion and equity training. And we never really got that underway. We were looking for an appropriate class to do borough-wide, so I would just like to add that.
If you want to budget some more money for that kind of training.
For what kind of training? I didn't hear you.
With LGBTQ and,
Diversity.
diversity, inclusion, yeah.
There are some things probably available, and I think I've said this before, through the New Jersey League of
The
Municipalities.
league, yeah.
Municipalities. I know that I have it through some state website that I get the training at school. It's online, but it's training. It's mandatory.
I would like to incorporate that, and
Yeah, there are, I know the state agencies have online programs for that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, I can look into that.
And that was an HR thing that?
Yeah,
An HR
I can look
thing.
into that, no problem.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions for Jimmy on HR?
No, thank you.
All right,
All right.
then we can move on to the clerk.
Start us
Hot
up.
seat.
Omar?
All right. So, Borough Clerk Office, we're maintaining, the Oprah requests, liquor licenses, parking permits that we receive, also dog permits and cat licenses. Right now, the budget is relatively flat. There hasn't been any increases in the Borough Clerk's office. I would like to mention, though, with the staffing concern, it's not much of a concern actually at this point in time, but there's a lot of turnover, and with that turnover, a lot of institutional knowledge is going out the door, and it's just a constant, trying to, kind of like rat race, trying to keep everybody abreast for the new employees coming in. I think as of now, as the calendar has turned to 2023, I think the staff is actually pretty up to date, pretty sufficient. There's not like a lot of questions. I'm open to questions and answering them, but I'm not getting them as often as I once was. So I think the staff is really up to speed. I'm starting to feel comfortable, delegating a lot more tasks over to to the staff. The new executive assistant, who once was the borough receptionist, she's been excellent. Honestly, she's been an excellent resource to have. She's pretty much been, a very solid employee. Also, the part-time employee, she's been also solid. I feel that she's super friendly, super knowledgeable, and she picks up quick. And I have nothing but high praises to say for all my staff members thus far.
More technical question.
Sure.
You mentioned the liquor licenses.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Jersey change its law recently or not on allocation of liquor licenses in municipalities and
On allocations?
numbers?
Yeah, the governor announced a couple
Right.
of weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
they're changing,
How many?
to make
It's
more
just being
liquor.
discussed, nothing's voted on, nothing's approved.
Been voted on.
That hasn't
We're
been
waiting
voted
for
on yet,
it to actually happen.
Because it's based off of the population in town.
Right.
As of right now. So I'll keep an eye on that to see what exactly is going to happen down in Trenton, but to my knowledge, nothing has been really.
The two concepts that are floating are to granting permits for locations for liquor as opposed to a license for a municipality, and/or issue more licenses, instead of being at one license for every 3,000 people, it'll be one license for every 2,000, or whatever the numbers are, and that they will theoretically somehow compensate through tax credits the people who already have liquor licenses, because those are going to lose value naturally.
This is what would happen with taxi cabs value.
Right. So that's the downside of having a monopoly. The downside of having a monopoly is when the monopoly disappears overnight, is musical chairs.
Can I go back to the staffing?
Sure.
So there's 2 full-time, 1 part-time?
Yes.
Did you ever have more than that? No, right?
No,
That's the rate we've always had,
that's
yeah?
the rate we always had. So prior to, the part-time, when I was the deputy clerk, we had, myself, Lizette, and then, the executive assistant
Anne Marie.
and the, receptionist, Mary.
So you're comfortable now, your office is running?
Yes, I'm a lot more comfortable now,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, again, there was a lot of, especially during COVID, I've gone, actually had, 2 receptionists, and then, with Anne Marie leaving, and, I had to backfill that position, with, Teeny. I don't want to say names, but with Teeny.
No, you're not burned out their,
Right.
their
So,
quality of their work.
The public documents here too.
yeah, but, ever since she stepped into that role, she's been awesome,
That you can't
excellent.
go with.
And,
That you can't.
she's been great.
The office has been
Yeah.
working
Right.
well.
Yes.
Okay, well, I know election time, you do a lot of overtime and things like that, everything does go fine, and
Yes.
you're good?
Yes, I'm good with staffing the overtime. It's been, that's the only time we really use overtime during the election.
Okay,
So, outside of that, we don't really use too much overtime.
so then I'm gonna actually turn to the next thing, which is the timing of the minutes and agendas and all that stuff. I guess the residents sometimes reach out to me and can't find stuff in a timely manner. You know how much.
Yeah.
So I was, how long, so I'm kind of getting a sense, how long does it take you from the council meeting to turning it over and getting it on the website? Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of that already.
Get what out of the way?
Like the meeting minutes and the agenda, like how, the agenda, I'm saying that sometimes residents are looking for information, it's not there yet, and I say it's coming, and I know it's coming, I'm trying to get a sense of timing.
Okay, so with the agenda, I'll answer both separately. With the agenda, I like to get the agenda out to the governing body, like a draft version of the agenda on, the Thursday prior to that Tuesday meeting. The next day, if there's any updates or any other revisions made, I'll make those revisions, then post the agenda to the public that Friday prior to that Tuesday meeting.
I mean, what I'm essentially getting, so it's just take the agenda. I don't know about if anyone else is getting the call, so everyone's like, I have no idea what's on. Can't you just do it by big topic or something? Can't you just say, we're discussing tonight a park or, you know, a football
What do you mean?
helmet?
What are you suggesting?
I'm not sure. Maybe
Like
like a
discuss it where?
synopsis. Maybe like a synopsis of what's on the agenda so that residents know when to come out for different topics.
Right.
Things, I don't know. Maybe it's part of, we could do something like that.
Or
on the
highlights,
webpage, or highlights of the big topics or the big
Right.
discussions. Something, because I am hearing a lot that nobody knows what we're talking about.
Well,
Okay.
so on that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, so with the agenda, it is posted in 3 locations on the website.
Yeah, but it's very dry. Nobody can
Nobody's
understand.
looking at it.
They know
Come
that
on,
there's a meeting, maybe.
So,
No one's actually looking through our website to find the
So-
agenda, like, you know.
what if we put it, what if,
Prominently on the,
like, you know where we put the messages on the left side?
Yeah.
What if we put some highlights there, maybe the,
Like weekly.
to be considered, so maybe 2 items, like the to be considered items, and then any ordinances that are gonna get approved?
yeah.
But not
And
by
just-
like long
So,
Right,
titles.
sure,
I like
title.
so
Like-
ordinances to be improved, they're, let's kind of buried in the website, but there is a place.
But that's the point.
Right.
Instead of burying it, kind of saying, if we're gonna talk about the dog park, you know, there'll be a discussion
Which
on
I'd
the
like to
dog
talk
park.
about, but that's another conversation.
Right.
So really, it's more
How about we
like,
do this?
this week council's discussing, or this week mayor and council are discussing the following topic.
Can I make a
Like
suggestion?
topic.
Right.
Can I make a suggestion? For the next council meeting, Omar and I will work on, like, together, we'll work on, like, something to go in that message section of highlights.
Short and sweet, like
Short
real
and sweet.
short and sweet.
We'll write it together,
Yeah.
and then-
Yeah.
and then, we'll put it up there, and then
And then with a
everybody
link
gets to read it.
with a link to the meeting, come join
Yeah,
us,
We'll
link.
figure that out. We can do a summary.
So then the other, on the back end is, sometimes we have the meeting, and someone says, I don't wanna sit through and watch it on channel 77, which I don't even have anymore. Fios doesn't even give it anymore. And then, I wanna see the meeting minutes, and I can't find them. So my question for more on the other end is, how long does it take to generate that, and can we find efficiencies there?
Well, you can't post the meetings until, the minutes until they're voted on, right?
Right.
Not the minutes can't be posted,
Until you vote on it.
really?
Yes.
Because that, maybe
Right.
that's why I.
Yeah, technically, if you don't vote for the minutes, everything that happened at that meeting is void.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
And I noticed the video, it comes out later as well.
Well, it must come out, so that's where, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, the
That's
video,
hiccup that I'm
video
finding.
comes out.
That's a big
immediately.
issue, not to go on a tangent,
Pretty much.
but that's an issue at some of, like, state authorities,
Yes.
when board members veto minutes, that happens pretty regularly.
But the video does come out pretty, fairly quickly after the meeting.
That's why.
But the thing is, even with the video, if it's a 4-hour meeting or a 3-hour meeting, there's no way of knowing that such and such topic was done at 2 hours and 22 minutes. You know, so you have to sit through, or you have to watch the entire thing to identify something that you're looking for. So there has to be a way. There has to be a
Some sort of
way
table
to.
of content.
Like a timestamp.
Because YouTube, you have videos
Good
that are
idea.
2 hours long, but it'll have timestamps for.
Nobody wants to listen to the 3-hour meeting after the 3-hour meeting's done. They want a synopsis, they wanna know what'd you vote on, how'd you vote, what's up for discussion.
So like, when was for your consideration? That would have,
Right.
and then if, right, so you just have.
That's something I probably would have to work with Dave DiGregorio and his team over at the school, because he is the one who posts the. I mean, I provide the video, but then he goes ahead and posts the video onto the YouTube for me to post it onto the website.
Okay.
So that's something that that layer, we can look into and see if we can add that.
But I think if while we're having the meeting, if you note what time for your consideration happened or whatever, all of these things happened, then the timestamp is there in your notes, and that can just be provided.
Yeah, that's true.
So just as a thought.
Yeah, we'll work on this meeting highlight then.
Okay.
It'll basically be some configuration to be considered
But I might find it
and
time
ordinances.
Okay.
The ordinance reduced to
definitely on my
basically
back.
title that people who aren't involved can understand what it means.
Probably something more prominent where you have the
For the mayor's messages,
messages that, right.
Post it on like Monday morning or
Okay.
Saturday morning, whatever. Okay.
We'll work it out.
Yes, Julie?
Yeah, Omar,
Okay,
where
so-
are we at with the, I remember this time last year, we were talking, yeah,
Yes.
all right, I'm not gonna say, just tell us.
Okay, so,
I don't-
Council,
Go ahead.
yes, Councilwoman O'Connor is asking me about the, upgrades to the audio and video equipment over in the council chambers.
And in here, and in here.
I
It should be-
Well,
All right, one at a time, let him answer the question.
So for the council chambers, I have been in contact with BIS Digital. So the quote did decrease about, I believe $1,400 from last time I was quoted. Okay, so, actually it's $1,414 to be exact. So there was one caveat that I was looking into because, there's an annual maintenance cost to it.
Okay.
And, currently we're paying, I believe, about almost $4,000 off the top of my head for annual maintenance costs for the service that we're paying in the council chambers. So thanks to Kathy McClure, she brought this to my attention, and she would say that, and the quote that for the upgrades to the system that there's a $2,000 annual maintenance cost. Is that included into the annual maintenance cost that I'm currently paying, or that's going to be on top of that? So I actually we've been playing phone tags, me and BIS, so I can try to get the answer to that question, because I don't want to move forward with it until I actually know exactly what that annual fee will be.
Pretend like it's not. I was gonna say, if you call and say, we're currently paying 4 and you're offering 2, like, just say, what does that cover?
Right.
Because you don't want them to be like, oh, wait, maybe we can up ours to 4. Like,
Right.
you know, if it supersedes it, let's keep it at 2.
With your
So-
Q&A, does that affect the timing though of putting?
Okay, so
I was budgeted last year.
sure. So no, it doesn't affect the timing. So hopefully I can have an answer by the end of this week. If I have an answer at the end of the week and it's favorable, I'd like to have a resolution for the next meeting or at the
Right.
next meeting to move forward with the project.
Okay.
And then, as far as the installation of the audio and video equipment, speaking to our representative, he was explaining to me it's not going to be an overnight thing. So because there's a lot of supply chain issues with some of the audio and video equipment.
It'll take some time.
So he roughly gave me a rough estimate of about 2 months.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that's not,
not terrible.
I think there's money Comcast gives us, not Comcast.
So,
Is there a grant for that? Ready? Is there a grant for that?
No, those were paid for by.
They budgeted last year.
That was like,
So-
they gave us a chunk of money for those.
to move on to this room, I would like to see how first the upgrades go over here in the council chambers before I like to upgrade this system, because obviously we don't have any cameras tonight to do the webcasting through Zoom right now. We need to upgrade the equipment in here for us to be able to have that ability. So,
You mean when I go on trying to order Jimmy more high shoes, it goes, oops, no internet?
Wow.
I tried. It just tried for you.
Can't go on those websites.
Nope.
I had another
Amazon
question, but I didn't know where we are.
no, go ahead for a question. We're asking all questions of the clerk.
To general clerk.
Any
What?
question you want of the clerk, whether it's
Okay.
on the agenda or not.
So on page 13, I'd like to, the mayor does not know I'm going to ask this. I would like to propose that the mayor's stipend be raised to $7,000 as opposed to $5,000. I don't think it's appropriate for him to make the same as the council. I would say that is the least amount of raise that he should get.
Well,
Don't say no, it's not your decision.
It's not my
It's not your decision, and it's not your ask.
It's not my decision, but I'm gonna go on the record is that I don't want an increase, okay? It's that simple. I'm doing fine just the way I am, but I appreciate that anyway.
I appreciate you don't want the
I went on
increase,
the record saying
however.
that last year for me, and
It-
look at where it got.
Yeah,
Well-
however, I think it's not appropriate for the mayor to make the same stipend as the council.
Don't make me go
In
there.
this particular situation, you go above and beyond, but it's not really about you, it's about the position.
It's a position, I agree.
And the position has not been raised since, about a decade at least,
Yeah, you're
the
right.
last time Susan has looked into it.
Well, I'm not looking at it as me personally.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
But as a position, I
As a
agree.
position,
I don't-
because
Don't
any
raise
position,
We can
We can-
lower all the council peoples, and then the mayor will make more than the council people. We can do that.
That works.
So I'm across the board trying to not give out raises unless they're contractually required. So this is a raise that's not contractually required, I'm a no, sorry.
okay,
But I'm a yes. I
yes,
agree.
I'm a yes, what about you?
You gonna make us do this in front of you, wanna go out?
I'm not leaving the room.
It's not about the
Well, there's-
person,
It's not
it's
the
about the
person.
position.
And
No,
again, the
there's-
position is not required to be raised, so why are we raising a position arbitrarily in our budget?
Because eventually salaries get raised to keep up with the cost of things.
But this isn't a salary, this is a stipend for us to actually do this volunteer position.
Stipends get raised,
These are,
you know, when we're at,
like,
PCLT then?
I can't hear you, what?
Yeah, all of you are gonna be
Yeah,
getting
5,000
PQRP.
Mm-hmm.
Or what?
Everybody's gonna be in the defined
Contribute
contribution.
to a pension,
Yeah.
a smaller pension plan.
Because they hit the
5,000.
5,000.
Right, it's mandated.
oh, damn, just trying to go
Especially
now.
49.
Susan, I remember talking about this to you last time, when was the last time that
I know it was
Mayor.
years, probably a decade or more.
How's that work with my teaching
More than
pension?
type it on the
Uh,
page.
How's
Okay,
that
so
work
it's,
with my
it
teaching?
would be,
That's separate, yeah.
I don't know,
One is
no,
the
I've.
PERS, the other
years.
is the whatever.
And you can't even break the tie.
That's that.
I can veto it, though.
Yeah, he can't break a tie, but it's, okay,
I
so
can
are
veto
we
it.
at a tie?
Well, this is a consensus tonight, you're not voting, right?
Yeah, there's no votes in this.
You're having a budget discussion and you're reaching
Well, I would
consensus.
like people to consider it. I do think it's about the position versus the person. Whether I liked him or not, I happen to like him, but that has nothing to do with
Well,
anything.
that's, I
We're not
appreciate
talking job
that.
performance tonight.
Yeah, we're not talking his job performance.
She's just talking
Well,
about
I
life.
mean-
I'm gonna write to you.
You're gonna write to you?
We're
But
we're
I
exempt
think
from that.
it's the principle of the matter that, wants community members to serve the town, and we have to make it where it's something that people can quasi afford to do.
One of the things the council might think about doing for the future is to, put COLA adjustments into the council member salaries so that once it gets, keeps up with the cost of inflation and gets adjusted that way.
Yeah, well, because now we have well over a decade where there was none, and it's just not appropriate. So that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your,
Did we even have a consensus, one way or the other?
We
we
didn't
heard
go
from.
around the table. I didn't hear
Yes,
from
then
Adam
I
and
have
Jeff.
to update this and then
Dan.
it's the
Yeah,
pension
yes,
salary.
she's right, we don't know. So we start, Jeff, yay or
Jeff,
nay?
go around the table. Jeff?
I was against raising hours, I decrease hours if that will keep his ahead of ours, but I don't think we need to change. Salaries for these jobs really should be low, so no, that's a long-winded, very long. Yeah, I was too long-winded, sorry, I'm tired.
I'm a yes. I just think that, it does need to keep, it needs to keep the position relevant. Besides the government angle, but I mean, just, there has to be a sense of what you're doing it for beyond that. So I'm a yes.
Adam?
Adam, you're next.
Yeah, so, again, like Jeff, I was a no on raising council's salaries. I've also equally said, I personally just don't believe $1,000 is going to bring a person in or bring a person out. I'm gonna be crazy, you guys will all disagree. I actually think we should be paying our mayor and council a lot of money, because that's gonna actually drive better qualified people. So I personally, and I've said this before on the record, I think the mayor should be, like, they don't pay taxes, or a council person pays only half taxes to get great, highly qualified people. That's how I think you're gonna do it. I don't think raising it $1,000 is, I spend more than that on coffee at Cafe Angelique for our residents, when I meet with them every week. So that's my point of view.
Wait, Dan, you're the
Is it a
decider.
yes or a no?
Is that a no?
He was a no.
Yes. Wait,
So we're
for
3-3.
this year, no.
He wants it for next year.
For 3-3?
No, we're 2, sorry.
Who's 4-2? No, you're a no, Jeff's a no, Adam's a no. That's 3-3.
But,
Dan?
No, I'm a no.
but.
Oh, it's 4-2, so it's no.
Hold on, but this is the same thing that happened last year. We agreed to the increase last year, in last year's budget, and then it became effective
Yeah,
with this one.
Discuss it at a meeting.
So
Okay,
you know for this. All right,
No, because we're in a budget meeting, we're discussing this year's budget.
so it's a no.
Discussing the ordinance. No.
give it a shot.
Much appreciated, but
Not
thank
a
you.
problem,
Yeah,
Mayor.
again, I mean, it's not,
I
nothing
get it.
for you or against
understand.
it for the position. But I have a question about,
I'll still be here on Tuesday night.
Mayor and Council, page 14. What are the other contractual items, in the $7,000 for?
Terminating?
Oh, no.
No.
So
no.
other contractual items, that is
Oh, that's public health.
the, cable network in this room, the Wilson room, and also in the mayor's office.
In this room in the mayor's office?
Yeah.
So these are considered, a mayor and council as opposed to admin, or?
Mayor and council. because
We're paying $7,000 for cable?
Well,
Well,
last year,
5,000.
it was 5,000.
There's no way we're
5,600.
paying $5,000 for cable TV. And if
I mean,
so,
what-
I'll teach you guys how to use freaking, like,
Lane,
yeah, free TV.
So, you know what, Susan, let's drill down to that number to see what that's actually, where is that going to?
What page?
That's crazy. That's egregious.
Let's find out, that might include, 15 different,
I was just curious.
that's a good question, let's find out.
HBO, Showtime, Amazon Prime.
That we don't have.
Omar has
Should.
no
Really
capital
should.
request, but can I make a capital request for him? Omar needs heating and air conditioning in that office. I'm sorry, he is literally, I come in there, he has things plugged in, he is piping through his stuff, like, that's not it needs to get fixed in that office. What is happening with that?
So if you have a HVAC problem in your office, or look at the split units that we put in the other offices, which seem to work very well.
Yeah.
Something, please.
Let's look at the pricing for a split what is it called? Split air.
Clear.
Yeah, okay,
Sorry, Omar, I had to.
let's find out.
The poor man has space heaters plugged in everywhere. In all
I've
his,
got to speak to the electrician about the electric charges tomorrow.
Yeah.
Any other issues for the clerk? Otherwise, could I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Does he have to talk about public health at all?
Do you have to talk about public health at all?
Or is that you? Oh, that was
Mainly the
He's
exterminating
the,
that you bring up.
secretary
The
to
board.
the Board of
Yeah.
Health. Oh, yeah, there is not. Our overall, I think, went down because of some of our, we reduced
The
our
contract,
Oh, yeah, so,
3 days, 2
so, yeah, the Mid-Bergen regional contract was decreased because, like Jimmy and Dr. O'Connor were saying, it was decreased from, 3 days to 2 days for Ruby to be, what you call it, the health inspector services. Yeah, and then also, the HART program had decreased because it removed its, public health services for COVID-19. And then also, there's the shared service agreement that was taken away last year because, Judy's retirement. And then, one last thing
Got it.
I want to just, touch on is the extermination contract. Where is it? I can't,
People putting money into.
I think I
bring the
got it.
check.
Yeah, you can
Check them or.
So,
Board of Health.
here it is.
Close, Mark.
So, in prior years,
You try.
for Cooper Pest, we were paying $2,040.
but were they spraying the insecticide?
Yes. So,
Right.
so I've done my investigation for the, what you call it, the, ContraPest?
ContraPest is called,
Right.
yeah.
And the contract will be $11,890.
No, it's much
For the
more
year.
expensive.
For organic.
However, our
Yes, for
overall
organic.
is going down
For
because,
organic
Yes.
yeah.
versus,
Versus the pest, not the pesticide, but the rodenticide,
which was how much?
$2,040.
So does that mean the rats die happier? What is it?
No, it's a whole thing where it's, so the Board of Health wanted to try this because it takes out the SGARs from the community. We have about 20 those black boxes. It'll take them out of the, the nature center, ecosystem.
The black boxes will get removed.
Yes, if they are black boxes, they'll have different in them.
Right.
It's ContraPest, it's a birth control. And it'll take out the poison, the SGAR, the second, out of the ecosystem. So you see them along.
And council wants to give this a shot.
The Board of Health wants to give it a shot, and especially because overall, Reading Council, of course, we had meetings about that, wanted to get, overall, our Board of Health, budget went down because we're saving it in these other areas.
Okay.
We need more cats.
Need more cats, yeah.
You need predators, right? But see, the problem is that SGAR, it puts it in the predator stream. That was the whole idea. is that
Okay.
they-
Okay.
Right.
Do I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So wake me